On this episode of Screen Geeks, we're going to talk about those new Arcade1Up cabinets for 2021. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Screen Geeks. My name is Jay, and with me, as always, is someone who is now my mortal enemy, Ralph. How you doing?
Sorry, I was parched.
Yeah, just keep dropping the subtle in and out. And for those that don't know, In and Out is quintessential Southern Californian drive. I mean, that's famous. I'm not anything you don't know. But what's funny about In-N-Out Burger is the amount of people that hate In-N-Out Burger is greater than I ever thought would be, you know?
Right.
Have you run into that?
What I don't understand about In-N-Out is that people who don't like it bring up Five Guys. And it's like apples and oranges.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're completely different things. And you can't compare them, so... But, anyway, excited to be here talking with you tonight, Ralph, because this is more of a Game Geeks.
Right.
Screen Geeks does encompass video games, but these ones specifically are the new Arcade1Up cabinets that were announced. And we've talked about them before. I've reviewed them on the channel before. But I did want to take time to actually talk about these because I think they're pretty neat, and I know that you are a fan of arcade games as well. So,
right,
I think this is apropos. Fett says Five Guys blows compared to In-N-Out. I like Five Guys too. I'm like, why not both? I think they're both good.
Right, they're just completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
If I got Five Guys, I wouldn't be sitting here now. I'd be sitting back in the old bathroom.
I don't. I mean, honestly, I don't really eat red meat anymore, but I have not.
Was?
Well, I'm trying to. I don't know, not have heart problems like everybody in my family does. 123 Hellstorm. Hi everyone who's waiting for the stream to start. Hello, 123 Hellstorm. Welcome to the show.
The stream has started.
Scott D is in the house, gentlemen. Hello to you both. Hello, Scott D. Good to see you. And then we've got Gold Digger Geeks.
Hey, Emily.
And Colleen is here. I don't know if she said no, they aren't too, but Colleen said she wasn't going to be as involved tonight, which is good because I'm talking about a subject she loathes. So this is great. This is fantastic for Colleen not to be here tonight. Nightmare is in the house. Hello, Nightmare. Good to see you. Good to see you. So CES was kind of virtual this year, and this is usually when Arcade1Up kind of drops a lot of their big reveals for the year. I believe we talked about it last year, like since it's in Anaheim generally, right? Or LA or something? Where's it at?
It's usually in Anaheim or LA.
Yeah.
I think it used to be in LA, then it went to Anaheim. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked about it last year because I was going to go and get some footage for you to show on Geek Dad Life.
Exactly. So it shows you how things turned for the worse a year from that point on. But still, we still got reveals that I think are pretty cool. I'm excited to talk about those tonight. But Ralph, your mic's a little bit hotter than usual. You're coming in a little bit loud, like a little break.
Right.
I mean, just
how does this sound?
That's great. That's fantastic.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's just dive right into it. A whole bunch of new cabinets. First ones. You know what? You didn't really want to be spoiled. I apologize for the thumbnail essentially spoiling you. But where do you want to start? We have kind of the Legacy Collection, which is Street Fighter, Pac-Man, and Atari 12-in-1, which is a Tempest cab shape. Killer Instinct, X-Men, or Dragon's Lair, Space Ace. Where do you want to start on this journey?
Well, the one I'm most excited for is Dragon's Lair. I love Dragon's Lair.
I
And
figured.
before you mentioned it, I thought to myself, I hope that it comes with Dragon's Lair 2 and Space Ace, and it sounds like it does.
Well, not only does it, yeah, it comes with the Dragon's Lair trilogy, as they kind of call it, quote unquote. But they also, we don't know who's going to get what, but there is a Space Ace cab as well. So you get your choice of a Dragon's Lair cab or a Space Ace cab. But still, it's really cool. It looks great, and what I love that Arcade1Up is doing is they're doing more custom kind of designs that look like the real arcade cabinets, which is great because the one system I would give to the first gen and transitioning into second gen or second wave or whatever, they all kind of have a generic shape. I think they call it the shark fin shape. But and that's why I kind of did like these new wave toys, kind of small versions, because at least they were almost 1/6 scale, 12-inch scale, exact replicas that you could play the game on. And they look just like the arcade cabinets. But now Arcade1Up has made and again, this is a nearly exact replica. And this one you can stand up and play, and it's a 3/4 scale with the riser. It probably makes it closer to, I don't know, 5/6 scale or something. So it is a little bit smaller than a real one, but it's still, you can stand up and play, has full size controls, and it looks fantastic.
Right. Right. I am a huge Dragon's Lair fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those games I always saw in the arcade, and it was, I think, either 50 cents or $1. So I never really played it.
Mm-hmm.
When I got my Sega CD in 1991, 92,
Yeah.
they had a port. A Sega CD had a port of Dragon's Lair.
Yep.
And I played it all the time, and memorized all the patterns and could complete the game in about 20 minutes.
Wow. That's awesome.
So it's a whole different thing when you're using like a Sega Genesis controller.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like the Sega CD version didn't have any of the guides. So there was no arrows pointing to where you need to react to. I had to learn all patterns by memory and trial and error. And
wait, they didn't do the way that kind of lights up telling you which way to go or give you the little
right.
Didn't do that.
Right. It didn't have any of that.
Oh wow.
So you really had to like know the patterns. There was nothing to tell you whether to go up, down, left, right, or your sword button.
Oh wow.
So it was all muscle memory. And so every time I pick up any sort of version of Dragon's Lair, I think they have a Dragon's Lair bundle on the Switch that I'm waiting to get a price drop on. I'll probably get that. I'll probably get that and play it on my Switch. I love everything about Dragon's Lair. I think we talked about it a little bit when they announced that Netflix was doing a Dragon's Lair movie produced and starring Ryan Reynolds as Dirk the Daring. Yes. And that is the perfect casting, and I cannot wait to see what that movie is. I have a feeling like the world is going to look just like the Don Bluth cartoon. I hope they really, really go authentic to the game. Like his outfit. I hope his outfit's just like the game, like the yellow and orange with the white sleeve, instead of like sort of bomber or whatever. And it's going to be hilarious. Because the game's kind of funny too, because if you messed up, you died, and the death animations were always super fun to watch. Yep. Even though after you see them like the third or fourth or fifth time, you get sick of them.
Yeah.
But it motivated you to keep moving forward, and I don't think I can get this. It's once again like it's gonna have to be Tron in order for me to get a cabinet.
Yep.
But I love that Dragon's Lair's available.
You can get the New Wave Toys one then, because this one you can play, and then you hook up to the TV too.
Right.
And it has a Laserdisc player in here too. Look at that actual.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome.
This I think is $99 or was $99. I don't know if it's still like regularly.
I think the Switch version's like $20. I'm waiting for it to go down.
But yeah, I think it's a great one to do because especially if you are into vintage arcade cabinets, and I have a few in my collection, and I've had more. The thing with Dragon's Lair is it was a laser disc game, and that's what was so innovative about, because you had real animation. It was Don Bluth animation, and that was the game. And while the gameplay is kind of simple because it was just showing you kind of cutscenes, you kind of A/B, choose which way to go.
Yeah.
But still, it looked incredible. But if you want a vintage one and to keep it running, it's really difficult. And the only real vintage one that I've seen that was running the laser disc did not run well at all. And most people run it off a PC or an emulation off a PC because that's more stable than trying to run an original Dragon's Lair. So that's what makes this option so great, is you're getting a full arcade experience, the artwork, the gameplay, everything in a much more stable environment that'll be able to play, turn on, off, and on, super easy, no stress, for a fraction of the price of a real Dragon's Lair. This thing will probably be $3.99, $4.99, but still, that's a fraction of the cost of a real.
And you're getting 3 games,
and you get 3. You get Dragon's Lair, Dragon's Lair 2, and Space Ace. So I think it's another step in that direction to where I think they're going to do a Tron. It's why I've had 2 full-size Trons in my collection at different times, and I sold it the second they did that Star Wars cab last year. And the Atari Star Wars is another one that's just really difficult to keep a vintage one running and everything. And that gameplay was fantastic. Is fantastic. The yoke is perfect, and you get all 3 Atari Star Wars games: Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi in that package. At a fraction of the price of just one of the vintage arcade games. So Dragon's Lair, I think, is huge for the vintage arcade nuts, because while all the vintage arcades are more expensive and difficult, it's those few, especially like ones like Dragon's Lair, where it's really hard to find a working vintage one, and then to keep that vintage one working is a whole nother level of work. So I think this is a big deal. And there was concerns that this would get delayed with that Netflix series. The thought was they were going to release this to kind of coincide with all of that, and that does have in my mind, they'll probably hold off on Tron until that Tron movie is probably close to coming out.
Right.
But to me, I feel like this almost cements that we're going to get a Tron at some point. They did the Star Wars Atari in the unique cabinet packaging, and now you have Dragon's Lair, which is its own. They did everything that the original cab had, including the digital separate scoreboard on the top. Tron is the most complicated vintage arcade cabinet, but there's no reason that they can't pull off something pretty neat next year.
Right.
Fingers crossed there. Let's see. Old school Shinobi's in the house. Don Bluth. Gotta love Don Bluth. Is it? Scotty says, is it running some modern version of the games via software ROMs? It's not actual old cabinet game nuts, right? Correct. Like I just said, the original was off a laser disc. And even in, I think it was, when did it come out? 82, 83, 84, somewhere around there?
Something like that.
Even then, it would crap out and stop working all the time. Add 40 years to that tech, and it struggles a lot. So unlike some of the other games that are off of boards, Dragon's Lair I would never want to build one off the original guts if I had a choice. Dragon's Lair at the arcade was the game I watched like a movie when I was a kid. It was so way before its time. I agree. And again, it was so expensive. It was 50 cents. And it's a difficult game. And kudos to you for doing it without the little kind of light prompts, because I've been playing it on this small version. And I haven't really dedicated a lot of time to it. And I've gotten through I know some of the patterns, and I'm sure if I go and read about them, I could figure them out. But they kind of they give you a sense sometimes of where to go or what to do.
Right. It would still have like a flashing door or every once in a while you get something like that. But for the most part, it was all muscle memory.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how far I can get now if I were to get my Sega CD working again. I may get that Switch version.
Yeah,
And I'm kind of hoping it doesn't have the prompts, the where it had like the D-pad in the corner display and the sword on the right.
Oh, they don't do that. They don't. This one didn't do that. It just has those lit up doors and stuff. So if it's a true emulation, I can't remember they may say the company here that they're doing the emulation from, but it's the same one that did the Star Wars one, and that was one of the most accurate emulations of the vintage arcade games. So I would assume it's as close to the original as possible. Which I believe there's questions around that. Old School says Dirk the Diggler. I think it's Dirk the Daring, isn't it? Or is Dirk the Diggler?
Yeah.
And Brad Brooks said, got a Switch for Christmas 5. Most of them playing Dr. Mario, trying to get this pandemic under control. And thanks for the hard work, Brad. Appreciate it. And then Jay Grimace, X-Men all the way. Trust me, we'll get to the X-Men. I think the X-Men's fantastic.
I feel like the X-Men's the one for your household.
Yeah, we'll kind of close on which one should I think Colin will be gone by then. And then
get out of here, Colleen.
New Indiana Jones game on the way. I hope we get a toy line 2 this year for the 4th anniversary of Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's interesting just with the Raiders toy line or the Indiana Jones toy line when Kingdom of Crystal Skull came out. It didn't do well. It kind of got clearanced out, and I'll be curious if anybody goes back to it. But all right, let's just look at the Space Ace one real quick. I don't want the Space Ace, but it's cool if people want it. It's the same games. Right. It'll be a different retailer exclusive or something. But it's neat they're doing that too.
Yeah, they didn't have to do that, but if you're more of a fan of Space Ace, then that's a great option.
Yeah, exactly. And they're probably like, they'll never make it. Boom, they did it.
Right.
Next up, I do want to talk about the X-Men 4-player arcade cabinet because I think it looks fantastic. This along with the Ninja Turtle game was like one of those big games where all your friends were just like pouring quarters and see how far you could get. This one to me was just as, or I loved it just as much as the Ninja Turtle one. But I have the Ninja Turtle one, and that's where it's like I feel like this thing looks fantastic. It is more like that original Konami cabinet than the Ninja Turtles one, just the shape and everything they did of it, and that artwork. I love the kind of Jim Lee X-Men look to Nightcrawler's my favorite X-Man. I love brown suit Wolverine. That's always my favorite Wolverine. But yeah, I think it looks amazing. I just don't know if I have room for it. I might have to sell my full-size Galaga to make space to have this and the Ninja Turtles if I add this one to the collection. So that's what I'm looking at, people. This is part of the choice we got to make here. Do I sell the Galaga to make space for the X-Men and the Turtles? I don't know.
I mean, there's 4 of you in the house, so you can get a full team.
That's what's fun about the Ninja Turtles game. We all take a character and we play when we play. Let's see. Back to Black Series Indie figure would be fantastic. Nightmare says, I'm starting to save it for the X-Men arcade cabinet. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I'll be curious to see, because Costco had an exclusive version of the NBA Jam, which was the last 4-player one they did this past Christmas. So I'll be curious to see if they do any cool exclusives for Costco or something like that. I mean, it'll come with a cool stool or something. But yeah, maybe I can rope in that being a Christmas or birthday gift or something. Maybe I don't know, I can do that. Bullwinkle 80. I've heard of people adding hundreds of different games to these 1-up consoles. They have, but they're usually putting in their own PC. There's space in that cabinet, so they can then kind of bypass the little game board and just use the monitor that's in there. There's a lot of different Arcade1Up mods that you can do. That is absolutely true. Jay Griffith says, then we definitely need the Simpson next, then I'm done. Out of the big 3, I would say it's one of the big three, but for me, it's X-Men, Turtles, then Simpsons. Where do you kind of rank on that of the?
Turtles for me is number one
Mm-hmm.
because that's what I used to play after school.
Yeah.
But I mean, The Simpsons is up there, and The Simpsons I don't believe has had really any sort of port like they never really licensed it out to like any of the major consoles. I don't believe. And so now that Disney owns Fox,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like they're cool with X-Men doing this with X-Men, and they did this with they don't own Turtles,
Star Wars. They did it with Star Wars.
and Star Wars and stuff. Like, why not do this as Simpsons? I feel like it's the next logical step. Why would Disney let them do X-Men and not Simpsons?
Yeah, it'll probably next year, I bet. They're spacing it out like that. I would think it's going to be the Simpsons one.
Simpsons I played the least, but that's just because it was newer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think X-Men was between those two, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mostly play Turtles.
They had the bigger one. You remember the bigger ones had like 6-player? I remember we had family. You have family fun centers in the LA area too, right? For the Boom. So one of them had a Rocky and Bullwinkles and the arcade inside and everything, and that one had the 6-player X-Men, which was just it was like gigantic one. There was rumors maybe this was going to be a 6-player, just like that one, but luckily it's not because I think that'd be too big. These are already kind of the biggest arcade ones with the extended.
It would be nice to have the option though of possibly doing like a USB controller to add on the 2 extra players.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. But yeah, I feel like if they've done these two, if they've done Turtles, they've done X-Men, they're gonna go for
Simpsons would be the next one.
Yeah, especially since X-Men and Simpsons are under the same license tree,
Right? Yeah.
So yeah, let's kind of go back to the chat. That's a hard one. Galaga is always my jam. I love Galaga. I do. But there's the Pac-Man set comes with Galaga and Dig Dug. So that's something down the line here. Maybe I get that too. See? Yeah, Karn's gonna be so mad at me. Anybody remember the Guardian Legend for NES? Asked by Old School Shinobi.
I do not.
Edie Dove says Guardian was one of his favorite shooters growing up. I never played it either. I don't know that one. Let's see. Right, that game was awesome. The first remember it when I brought it up. Look at this. PD Dubs and Old School on the same page about. I don't remember that at all. Simpsons is heavily rumored to be next. Then yeah, it would make it's kind of a no-brainer. It's just one of those popular 4-person Konami
beat 'em ups. Yeah.
Scott, do you remember playing the 4-player arcade games for Gauntlet? And there was an off-road truck racing one too. Both remain sayings at the bowling alley. Oh yeah,
Ivan Stewart.
Huh?
Was it Ivan Stewart's off-road racing? Dude, I played that a lot.
Oh yeah, it
had the 4 steering wheels.
Yep.
That was a tough game, and I remember getting Gauntlet. I got Gauntlet on my Apple II GS. I used to play it all the time.
Yeah, Gauntlet's definitely another one of those like multiplayer games, and that one's been rumored a lot too for Arcade1Up to do. I assume they'll probably get there at some point. It's kind of a different style, but
now that they're doing 4-person cabinets, I mean, might as well.
Yep. They have the tech. They've done it. They've done the pre-work. Ray Belmont says, "Go for the X-Men and sell the Galaga. The whole fam can play X-Men and Turtles. That Star Wars LE season cam looks awesome and brings back such good memories." I have the stand-up Star Wars mainly because the seated one takes up too much room.
It's huge.
The wall. So yeah, that's just not as much space to do that. And Landeros 554. Jay, what about the 87 Real Ghostbusters arcade game? Shoot up, that was strange but fun. By the way, X-Men is my favorite cabinet here. Just look at that cabinet art. Get it, Jay. The cabinet art is gorgeous. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat that or anything. It looks fantastic. Because it's essentially porting it over from that original game. So it looks great. It looks great. And yeah, I love the original. I can't remember who made it now. Data East, real Ghostbusters arcade game. It's not great playing as an adult. Whenever I do see it at an arcade, it's an okay game, but I do love that artwork. Let's see. PD Dub says X-Men greater than Galaga, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
Garage Gamer, heck yes, you should get this. The Garage Gamer is getting it. I feel like I got covered here. If you don't follow Garage Gamer, go ahead.
How much would this be? Like, how much was the Turtles one?
$4.90 or $3.50 or $4.99 or $4.50. $4.50. But then it like went on sale for like $3.99 pretty quick. So
okay,
right.
So pretty much the same price as my Godzilla records.
Yes.
All right.
Colleen said no too.
But it's going to take up way less space though. That's the thing for me is space.
I get it.
Yeah.
I don't really have space for this X-Men one, so I'd have to get rid of some and move some stuff around to make it work. But yeah, no, it's kind of like I want to make sure I have space for Tron. That's the most important. When they make Tron is a must. So I know I have to have at least space for that eventually, whenever that comes. But the Dragon's Lair, this X-Men cabinet, maybe a couple others, like I feel like I really would love to have in my little game room, you know?
If they do Tron, it has to include Disc of Tron.
Oh, they will. There's no way they won't.
And then I would need that.
Yeah. Well, you got rid of all those pigs, so you have the space now, Ralph.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Just screen in your little deck area and just kind of make that the game area.
Yeah, we'll see.
I wish they'd sell empty cabinets with the art on them. I mean, a lot of people just get a cheaper one and just kind of have their own art package and they put on it and stuff like that. European Ghostbusters 2 for NES is the one to play. I only had the American Ghostbusters 2 on NES, which the early days of Angry Video Game Nerd, I loved how he craft on those. Those were like some of his first episodes.
Right.
That was good times. Mark Drennan, can we get something other than all these beat 'em ups? What about any of the mini awesome shooters from back in the day? Well, they just started. They had like their first shooters, the Big Buck Hunter World. So the big thing there is having an LCD screen to use the photo shooter on. But they figured out the tech on the Big Buck Hunter whatever. So now that they've got that tech down, I feel like there's going to be more shooters in the future, but they just released that one. So I feel like the Big Buck Hunter is like step one. And I'm sure they'll start adding more.
Did you notice in Wonder Woman 84 in the arcade, they had an Operation Wolf arcade machine? Mm-hmm. That came out in 87. Just saying. Movie is
another reason to not
like inaccurate. But I loved Operation Wolf. Oh, yeah. Operation Wolf was awesome.
A great game. Let's see. I think references something here. Twin Cobra, Life Force, Raiden, Thundercade. So many great late 80s arcade games that you skipped at this point. I think it's probably on their roadmap of just like what tech differences or what things we would have to implement to make that happen, and then is there a big enough audience to buy enough of those?
I think that's what it is. It's easy to go for the licensed stuff. Mm-hmm. Even with Pac-Man, as well known as Pac-Man is, they bundle it with a bunch of games. How many people know like Life Force? I know Life Force from playing it back on the NES, but how many people are going to go crazy for Life Force? It would be cool if they did do a shooter where it's like R-Type, Life Force, and all of those type of games, bundled them into one. But like with properties like X-Men and Ninja Turtles, everybody knows what that is. Yeah. So when Grandma goes to Walmart and sees an arcade machine, she knows Grandma's the X-Men. She knows. Well, I mean, when she's walking by and she sees X-Men, she'll say, "Oh, my grandson likes X-Men. I'll get him this video game."
Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
So I feel like what Arcade1Up should do is have these major licensed games, and then also bring in maybe just a classic arcade from the past that may not have that name recognition, but gamers are going to want to get.
Yeah.
I almost feel like Dragon's Lair is that, even though now it's getting a movie or show at Netflix.
Yeah.
But like I could see a Burger Time Machine, like fans.
No, they did a Burger Time.
Did so
Yeah,
I can see like stuff like that, like your Astro, or your Pac-Mans and Defenders and all those Berserk can at least get one of those in there along with your Simpsons and Tron and Star Wars.
Well, even Tron, I feel like Tron is more of just the idea of it and its pop culture significance. I feel like a lot of people jump on the game, but I actually love the game itself.
I love the game. I love both games.
Yeah. Even though I've only played Discotron once, but it was fun.
It's hard.
It's very hard.
It's a hard game.
Very bad at it. Ray Belmont, I remember the first time playing the X-Men game. It was like it was yesterday at the Riverwalk in New Orleans with my fam. That's awesome. I always dug it because remember that VHS tape cartoon that was like the pilot for X-Men before they did the main Fox X-Men, and that was how I got introduced to those characters. And the first figures from Toy Biz were this look of the X-Men. So I always just dug it, like a continuation, because that was the tape that I had and that I watched a lot before the Fox show came out. Was that 92 or 93? I don't remember exactly what 91.
Yeah, it was pretty early.
So I always just really dug how this one featured those characters, and Nightcrawler is my favorite X-Men of all time. So being able to play him was just really special for me. Old School says X-Men Arcade equals Godzilla vinyl set equals Lords of Power con exclusive equals 450 magic number. Apparently the Lords of Power is already to like $600. If it's truly $600, ladies and gentlemen, I'm probably going to sell mine, because holy crap, I only paid 200 something bucks for it. So nearly triple my money. Don't get mad at me though if I could do that. You can do it, Ralph. I think in reference to doing the Tron. He says, I'll buy your USS flag to help make room. Unfortunately, sure, that would make room on the floor, but then they still have all the stuff above the flag. So
then you'd be able to get a stun runner.
I love this one. One does not simply sell a USS flag. We've recently been watching Lord of the Rings because they have the 4K Dolby Atmos remasters that just whatever. So that's been fun. I haven't watched the Lord of the Rings in forever. Mark,
I watched all three on New Year's Day.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
It's called Ringing the New Year, and it takes forever.
Mark Jordan says, having said that, I just grabbed the Revenge of Death Adder cabinet, the Ultimate Beat 'em Up. Can't wait to get it delivered. Oh, nice. Very nice. Area 51, again, I assume they'll get there. I assume they'll get to those types of games. And Landeros 554, Jake, I can see you placing your Hasbro Pulse Sentinel playing on your X-Men cabinet at some point. He is certainly tall enough. I know, exactly. I could do a cool. No, I promise Colleen, toys stay in the toy room. If the toys start to leave the toy room, it's a slippery slope that I will probably never recover from. I have to place limits on this disease. They made Operation Wolf, and the Operation Wolf game release was so easy to track because it was heavily advertised on the back cover. Yeah, it really was. That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Scott D says Life Force IE grades with the Vic Viper. Love that. Garage Gamer. The cool thing about this one is that their first beat 'em up that is online. The online was good for NBA Jam, and even better for Marvel's Capcom. Capcom online play adds a ton of replay value. That's a good point. But for me, where I have in the game room area, I don't know. It's not Wi-Fi, right? Or does it have a Wi-Fi card? If it's a Wi-Fi card, then it's fine. But if I have to wired hook it up, it comes in right in this room. I don't know how I get all the way over that way, but that's problem for a different day. Let's see. Fett says Arcade1Up has sold more online exclusives for less recommendable titles like Burger Time. Exactly. They had an online exclusive Burger Time cabinet, which looked really cool. But again, on that one, I was just like, no, I have to save myself for like ones I really, really want, like Tron. Otherwise, my wife will leave me. Joust. I love Joust. I think I got that X-Men pizza tape at Pizza Hut. Watch it over. Well, Pizza Hut had like the first 3 episodes of the new series, if I remember correctly. It was like an exclusive packaging, and it had like an intro by Stan Lee, if I remember correctly. But the memories may be used together. P-Dubs, okay, I'll take the stuff above the flag too. Sure, P-Dubs, whatever you need, I'll get it for you. You can take it. For whatever it's selling for right now on eBay. Old School Shinobi, I watched the Criterion release of The Irishman nearly as long as all the Lord of the Rings films together. That's saying something, because we were watching the extendeds, and I think both the first 2 extendeds are like 4 hours long. So
right.
But my wife is Colleen, if she's not here, is a huge Lord of the Rings nerd, J.R. Tolkien nerd. So she I like Lord of the Rings. She loves it. She's read the books. I can't get through those books, and I like reading, but Lord of the Rings is a book. I'm sorry, anyone. Really dry. Really dry.
No reading for me.
So there you go, X-Men. I think that one is a big contender as well. I'll tell you another one that I really dig, that I kind of really want, is this Tempest. Right. I love Tempest. It's one of my favorites. I have the New Wave Toys version. I have the original Atari 12-in-1 that Arcade1Up did as their first gen. It's not great. The controls aren't great. It's kind of cheap looking. But I did want to get it just because I love Tempest. And again, having a vintage Tempest, the vector graphics that they used on that game, the opening kind of scrawl of Tempest coming up blows out those monitors every 6 months. So maintaining a vintage one is nearly impossible.
Right.
And now there's a 12-in-1 has all the amazing Atari games. It has the trackball on it. So you're getting the list right here: Asteroid, Centipede, Major Havoc, Missile Command, Aka R, I don't know that one, Crystal Castles, Tempest, Millipede, Gravitar, Liberator, Asteroids Deluxe, and Space Duel, all included in this. And
that's the way to do it.
And Tempest is one of my top looking cabinets. And here's a little video that they did. I was not gonna let me. What a pain in the neck. No, maybe it'll be bigger.
If you work in a team,
now I got an ad.
Oh my gosh.
Monday.com needs
sponsored.
To chill out. Too many ads. They started doing these like fake coin doors now, which I think is fun. Like that's just gorgeous. Gorgeous. So like I feel like I need this one just because I love these games. Centipede, Asteroid. Well, I like Asteroids Deluxe better. Tempest, which I love. And then Major Havoc, which is a really rare game. That was another great thing about when they put it in the last 12-in-1. Really rare game that kind of used the same form factor as Tempest. And that's included here as well. And they've improved the spinner. They've improved the trackball. I think this one's going to be the kind of sleeper best one out of all the stuff that they've released. Uh-oh, Colleen is in the chat. Uh-oh, she was in here.
She's not happy.
Ah, crap. Colleen, I'm sorry. I was you said you weren't really going to be on tonight. I felt like this was a safe night to talk about this. Jay Griffiths, they're not dumb, they're art. Bah humbug Jager. Everyone in the chat, I'm in trouble now, but that's all right. It's fine. You're all here to protect me. I love the extended editions. I usually do sit through them. The Hobbit extended as well. Hello, Colleen. You know you'd love playing X-Men and Turtles with the fam. Jager says, "Do it for the boys, Colleen." Old School Shinobi says, "Tolkien's prose consists of 5 pages describing what." Thank you, Old School Shinobi. Thank you. That's why, like, I was 100 pages in. I was like, "How long do we have to talk about this tree?" I'm sorry, I can't do it anymore. And I gave up. And I was just like, the geek that I am, I went to Barnes and Noble back when Barnes and Noble was a thing. I bought like the full illustrated, whatever deluxe one was 20 something years ago. And the bookmark from where I stopped is still in that book that is sitting in our little library over here from where I quit on Lord of the Rings. Colleen says, I don't hate the Turtles one as much as the others because Colleen plays the Turtle ones with the boys. Ray Belmont, that's progress. Hating the X-Men does not compute. Ray Belmont, man, I've got to get one of these. Warning, warning, danger, danger. Yeah, thanks, Ralph, for letting me keep talking about this without telling me Colleen is here. Sorry, coin slots to one of those banks that counts rolls, your spare change. You know, this is just like it's a sticker, but there's custom mod people for Arcade1Up, so you can put a real coin door on there. The 2 real arcade cabinets that I have in the game room, I have fully functioning coin doors, and I put real quarters in them. And I've been slowly collecting pre 1994 quarters, so they're all like, you know, the old eagle back style. Wife alert! Thanks, PD Dub. Thank you for looking out for me, everyone. No, for reals. Do we have an X-Men one, or is that what I missed? We do not have an X-Men one yet, Colin. I'm trying to see if it's okay to get it.
You practically have an X-Men one. Just say yes.
Yes, I do. Colin, I already have an X-Men one, so don't worry. I already have one. Jay, it's okay. She doesn't hate Turtles as much as the others do, so there's hope. My wife calls my collection dolls. By the way, Carrie Coon was on Kim last night and she told some details about the new Ghostbusters and Bill Murray. Oh, I gotta watch that. Yes, Jay, the Atari cabinet is essential because it needs to be next to your Tron cabinet. Also, I really love Jungle Hunt Arcade. Doesn't get enough love. Jay, I don't know if I played. Yeah, and we already have one. So when you see it, don't worry. We've already had it. It's nothing new added to the game room.
I like that Fetz asked, is there any other news? And no, there isn't. I sent Jay over. I think I sent you news earlier today. I'm trying to find it. And it was like nothing.
There was a whole bunch of nothing. But I think the Atari Legacy Edition is just cool as hell. Killer Instinct. I'm not a big fighter game guy, so this one is an easy pass. But there's people that were really, begging for it. Colleen's leaving.
Ooh, you'll have space to put Tron.
There you go. All right. Well, that was kind of like when I told her I was selling the last full-size Tron that I had. I was like, just so you know, whenever they make an Arcade1Up one, I'm getting that one. So
right.
It's smaller than this real one, so you can't be mad at me. I think you can't be mad at me. All right. So let's try and quickly scan through the others because we've been talking about this stuff for a while. The Pac-Man one, I'm not as inclined for, but if I did sell the Galaga, I'd probably want this one because it has Galaga, Dig Dug, Pac-Man. I will always keep the Miss Pac-Man cocktail because Miss Pac-Man is probably my favorite outside.
And it's allowed in the house.
And it's allowed in the house. And I got it for so cheap and fixed it myself and brought it back to life myself. I have an attachment to that one more than any other. So Miss Pac-Man stays.
Wait, that's...
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So this is another legacy one. So basically, these are kind of like deluxe editions of ones they released kind of originally, right? So I really dig the Atari in this one. This Pong 4-player kind of table is interesting. And it also has Tempest on it, which is kind of cool. But Pong, Pong Doubles, Quadra Pong, Pong Sports, Circus Atari, Super Breakout, and Tempest.
At first, when I saw the thumbnail, I thought it was that Sega. I think it was Sega, the hologram game with the cowboy.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Can you imagine if they did that?
Mm-hmm.
What was that game? I forget the name of it.
It was like 3D Cop or something. I don't know, something silly. But yeah, this is all right. Not for me, but if there's the Pong fans out there, that's cool. And I think the mini Pog was already out. So yeah, those are the big unveils. So all right, final chat here on this. I could maybe pull off. For me, at first, I was like, definitely Dragon's Lair, definitely the Tempest, and I kind of maybe want to add the X-Men. That's kind of
really.
But if I could only, because I could make it work, because basically I have space for these to kind of fit in between the turtles and whatever. I could fit a Dragon's Lair and a Tempest in between the space I have right now, and I still have space for maybe one or two more, but I still need to keep space for Tron if that ever happens. If I did X-Men, I gotta sell the Galaga. There's no way I could have space for the X-Men with the Galaga still there. So that is kind of where I stand with that. So if force rank these, which ones should I get?
I think for you, just for family fun, you got to get X-Men. Mm-hmm. The Tempest machine's really awesome. I'll go with that.
I 100% want the Tempest because I love so many of those games. I play it all the time.
And then
I had a real Centipede that I also added the Centipede Millipede mod. So I love those two games. I love Crystal Castles. There's just so many great Atari, and it has so many of them.
Right.
X-Men and Atari.
For me personally, it's Dragon's Lair all the way. That's the one I would get, and I wouldn't even get the other ones. Like, I have a handful of games that I play in the arcade. Mm-hmm. Tron, Dragon's Lair, Paperboy. Mm-hmm. And where's that? Do they have Paperboy yet?
No, it's a Sega game. I don't think they've done a Sega game yet. I'd assume they'll get to a Paperboy eventually, though. But I think that's another one of very unique controllers that they've.
Is it Sega?
I thought it was Sega.
I had Paperboy, or I still have it on the Atari
NES?
Lynx.
Oh, I had it on NES, but I felt like the arcade game was a Sega game.
Interesting. I love Paperboy. Paperboy's awesome.
I love that one as a kid. Sega. It was Atari. What? I guess it was Atari. I thought it was Sega. I guess I was way off there. So Atari. So they could do it. They've already done their Atari games.
And I'm wondering if there's other games like that you can include with that. Like, could you do Hang On? That's a Sega game though. But is there any sort of other bike handlebar games that you can pair up with Paperboy? Man, Paperboy is awesome. I was no good at it.
I was okay. There was
I had trouble with the stunt course and lining my bike up with that sort of 3/4 axon view.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I struggled with that.
It's been so long since I've played it. And the last time there was a place in, I think, El Cajon, California, that was called Nickelodeon. But they changed. They had all old, at that point, old arcade games. It was mid-90s. And it was, you could, instead of quarters, it was nickels. So you just like bring a bag of nickels and play for nickels.
There used to be one right across the street for where I live. It went away before I moved in here.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, they were great. It was great. but anywho, yeah. So for me, I think it's definitely Dragon's Lair in this, and then I'll have to figure out a way to sell the Galaga to make the space for it in time. And even then, I'm not 100% sure. But
Right.
I would love it. I think I have to sell the Galaga to make the space, and then see how I would arrange, because I would essentially want to put the Turtles and the X-Men kind of not catty cornered, but almost like kind of together, so to speak. Kind of have that be the 4-player space, and then kind of have the more standard arcade cabinets kind of lined up.
Right.
That's how I kind of see it in my mind, but I kind of have to have the space free to spec it out. But anywho, all right, that is that. Then there you go. There is the full run of things from Arcade1Up. And let's see. Fed says, "What if they team with Nintendo to do a Donkey Kong?" I would get that so hard. I don't know if Nintendo will ever get. I don't think Nintendo will ever do it, because Nintendo is so into their own proprietary thing. I don't know if they'll ever do it.
Just wait for the Game and Watch.
But even the Nintendo or NES version of Donkey Kong is not the same. That's the only time it's ever been released that way.
Yep.
It would be massive if they did it. Spy Hunter was my go-to when going to the movies. Spy Hunter is great. Use the same technology as Tron. A lot of shared parts between Spy Hunter and Tron. Silent Scope, Jay Griffiths, James Softner. Which one of you guys is more Billy Mitchell or Steve Weeb or Weeb? I love that. Like,
I have the beard
where he's like, it's actually Weeby.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think, Billy Mitchell or Steve Weeby? Who are you, Ralph?
I mean, I have a beard,
Mm-hmm.
so my Billy Mitchell. I'll take Billy Mitchell.
You kind of look like Billy Mitchell.
I'll wear my USA tie next week.
Thing is,
I'm fine with that.
Nobody wants to be Billy Mitchell, or even less Billy Mitchell.
Billy Mitchell does.
Right, that's true. But who is that guy that like retired young and lived at Fun Spot and was like Billy Mitchell's toady?
Is that Brian Koo, the one that producer Ryan mentioned?
Oh, maybe. Oh, Ralph. Oh, dang! But I was gonna say that's the biggest insult, is being called that guy. If that's who it was. I
need to watch that movie again.
I love that movie. I love that movie. It's a rare documentary that's like becomes a really compelling story that you like root for a person against another person.
Yeah. It has a bad guy in it.
Yeah, it has a bad guy, and it has like, but they don't think they're bad because it's a documentary. They don't think what they're doing is total D-baggery. And it's so good on so many levels. And then there's another documentary that came out around the same time that I watched that doesn't paint Billy Mitchell and crew as like a bunch of D-bags.
Evil minions.
I can't remember what it's called. It's on iTunes. Like I got it when, I rewatched King of Kong. I was like, I want to watch another one. Is there any others? And I was like, oh, here's another one. And it was a completely different viewpoint on the Twin Galaxies crew. It was very interesting. It was very interesting, to say the least. I'd get a Paperboy. Yeah, again, I think because it was like a metal bike handlebar thing.
Yeah. And you had to yank it back in order to do the jumps.
Mm-hmm. That one would be tough because they're pretty sturdy, but they're not, those they're heavy as hell. Like you're not going to move them by pulling back, but you could pull back an Arcade1Up cabinet. They're not that heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
Spy Hunter would be amazing. Love that in the arcade. They may do it. It's a midway game, Bally Midway. So I don't know why they couldn't do it. But anyway. All right. Well, that is everything to talk about. Any updates or anything that you wanted to close out with, Ralph?
I sent a couple things, but they weren't terribly exciting. Well, I mean, they're exciting, but who knows when they're going to happen?
Yeah.
Lucasfilm Games is going to be releasing an Indiana Jones game with Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, but who knows when that's going to come out?
Yep.
Also, Ubisoft is creating a Star Wars open world game,
Yep.
which is cool. I remember playing Galaxies, Star Wars Galaxies, but that was a multiplayer, one of those MMO
Yeah.
RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing movie wise is that Kevin Feige has said Deadpool 3 will be rated R and will take place in the MCU. Which means how many jokes about the Chris's are we going to get? And is it enough? Because I can't... like, him being in sort of the Fox X-Men world is one thing, but him being able to take a jab at Disney and the Avengers and all of that stuff is going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
And I feel like they should just start popping them in movies now. Have them be Doctor Strange. Have them be in the multiverse Spider-Man 3 film.
Yeah.
Just
everybody else is in that movie. Might as well.
Them in. Just start dropping them in.
Yeah, I agree.
Put them in the Flash movie.
That's WandaVision is at midnight, y'all. Yeah, that's right. WandaVision, the first MCU Disney Plus TV show.
Probably talk about that next week.
I assume so. Okay.
Cool.
Be here Thursday, 9:00. Ralph and I are going to be talking about WandaVision, among other things. Jacob says Disney is doing the HBO Max thing with Nomadland. They can start doing it with other things. Well, they kind of did it first, but they made you pay extra money for it, you know?
I think they're doing that with Widow.
They are?
I want to say that's what I read it on the internet, so I don't know if it's happening, but that's what I read, that they're doing the $30 premium thing.
I probably still wouldn't
watch it.
I'd wait till it just dropped in the normal Plus.
Yeah.
Because Mulan eventually dropped, right? Like it's in there now. I can watch it now, right?
Yeah, right.
So I would just wait till I don't know. Maybe that makes me a bad geek, but I'll just wait till I get it as part of what I pay already.
Right.
Deadpool 2 with Spider-Man. Yep. I want to see Deadpool Back to the Future 2'd throughout the MCU history. Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're launching it on Hulu. Oh, okay, they're using the Hulu service. Okay. John Chu is going to direct Willow on Disney Plus. Had to leave. Yes. How about that? The director of Willow having to drop out.
Yeah. He's having a baby.
Listen, I've had
focusing on that.
It's not that hard. Come on. I'm kidding.
Listen, Bryce Dallas Howard did 2 great episodes of The Mandalorian.
She did.
She's related to one of the original director of Willow. I think just slide her right in there. I think she'll do a great job. Have her direct the pilot and the finale. Have her be the showrunner.
Yep.
If that's something she's interested in. If not, if it's that thing that her dad did when she was a kid, then not. But I'd like to. I think that would be kind of fun, keeping that in the family.
Yep, I agree. I think that's a great call out. James Bond got pushed back in, hopefully to work a little bit longer on the score for your sake, Ralph.
I don't want to hear the score. I don't. Yeah. So I just listen, dude. This week, a bunch of people sent me that Hans Zimmer is doing his own masterclass in how to film score. And he doesn't know how to score films. Do not learn from him. He writes the music before the film is shot. Scoring a film is when you write the music after it's been done, and you literally score the film with music. I don't like it.
Man.
I don't like it.
Listen,
I don't want. He's gonna mess up James Bond. He's gonna mess up Daniel Craig's final James Bond movie, and that sucks.
It does.
If he has that chanting garbage from the beginning of Wonder Woman, take a hike. Take a hike. I don't want to hear it. No, I'm done. I'm done with him.
Oh man. Scott D, that's a good call. Bryce and Dad would work on the. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. All right.
If they want to.
If they want to.
Yeah. If not, if she doesn't, get Louis Leterrier. I don't remember him. He directed The Incredible Hulk, and he directed the Clash of the Titans movies. But more importantly, he directed the Dark Crystal series. Go get that guy to do this.
Yeah,
right.
Also says he recycled that from his Gladiator score. He recycles a lot of his stuff. A lot.
Yeah, and his Gladiator score during the battle he stole from Holt because it sounds just like Mars, the Bringer of War, and I just want to strangle him.
Is Ralph video freezing or Tasha's?
Probably. My computer is rejecting the name. It's like Voldemort over in my house. Let's say his name.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we're going to close out this episode of Screen Geeks. We'll see you all next Thursday, where we'll talk about, among other things, WandaVision, the first episode dropping tomorrow. We'll be talking about that. For other things on the Geek Dad Live channel, Toy Geeks will be back, as always, on Sundays at 9 o'clock. And I do have a few more toy reviews to do as well. And some new ones. If you haven't seen it yet, I did review the Lords of Power PowerCon exclusive set. And coming up soon, I got to film and edit it and everything. But I do have the last PowerCon exclusive, the She-Ra Princess of Power exclusive figure to review as well. That is it for this time. Ralph, where can people find you?
At Casino Skunk. Right there.
Right there.
At Casino Skunk.
Ralph is a prolific web content creator. And if you go there, you can see the multitude of stuff that he makes.
A little bit of a plug. This coming Monday, Crazy Hank TV.
Oh, boy.
I am joining Jack. This will be the second time I watched the Lost episode, Across the Sea.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
I've only seen it once, and there's reasons. And I'll go over those reasons on Monday. So
great call, Scott D. Hit the like, guys. Hit the like. And if you've been hanging out and you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel, Geek Dad Life. It's love having you all here. All right. Until next time, hasta luego and goodbye.